only one that can solve this problem. We can stand in the door, we can put our foot in the door, but we will not conquer this alone. We won't make it alone. But we can do certain things. Soros and the Tides Foundation have been trying to indoctrinate our kids. Do you remember that stupid, what was the name of that film that they did? There it is, Story of Stuff. Remember this? Well, I said at the time somebody else has to do it, and I waited for somebody else to do it, and they haven't. So we have. I like to call it reverse propaganda on the Tides Foundation and our children. I'll show it to you before the end of the hour. Stay here. I have some friends in the studio that have joined me today, and we were talking in the break, and they said, would you please, Glenn, put this up on your website? So we're going to put this up at foxnews.com, glennbeck.com, theblaze.com. I'm going to put these up. If you want to know why the Republic is on a ventilator, you want to know how much trouble we're in, you go to One Nation Working Together and you look at the groups that are affiliated with this president, and you will see what they're calling for. You do your homework on this, you won't sleep for a week. I'm also having theblaze.com look into more on these to expose what these people really believe. In their own words. No spin, in their own words. Now, for the second time in the last 2 weeks, the president has given a speech where he's used a quote from the Declaration of Independence. He has omitted, I believe, the most vital part of the quote, and nobody understands why. This is not a small deal, and I want to explain. First, let me show you what he said the first time on September 15th. Here he is.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Endowed by their Creator. And
endowed with certain inalienable rights, life and liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Okay, the glaring omission there is the one word, Creator. Okay, after we, and I'm sure others, brought it up, the White House insisted the comment was made on the fly. It was inadvertent. It wasn't in a teleprompter. Okay. The White House Deputy Press Secretary Josh Ernst talked about the incident, and he said that, quote, the president is in full agreement with the Declaration of Independence. Any suggestion to the contrary is just silly. Well, it's not. Woodrow Wilson said the Declaration of Independence was meaningless. So why is it silly now that this president, especially when he leaves out a very important word? It has nothing to do with religion, by the way. I want you to know that. We gave him the benefit of the doubt, except 7 days later, the president again, while speaking at a Democratic fundraiser, omitted the one word Creator when referencing the exact same passage from the Declaration. The omission was part of a prepared transcript. Now, they didn't have any cameras at this dinner, so we had to go to the White House and get the transcript. Here is the White House transcript on what the president said. Quote, if we believe that all people are created equal and everyone is endowed with certain inalienable rights, then we are going to make sure those words live. But he goes on, but it's pretty clear that this isn't being done on the fly. Or else there's a speechwriter at the White House that needs to be selling vacuum cleaners door to door. I'm just saying. This is not some sort of oversight. And here's why I feel compelled to talk to you about this tonight. The mail I get from people who are even on the right who say, oh, just shut up about your religion, blah, blah. It's not religion. You must understand why every word was put in the Declaration. It is a very big deal. It is one of our critical founding principles that we do not get our rights from man. We get them from God. Why is that important? In the Declaration, they were very careful to make sure it wasn't Christian God or Jesus or Moses or anybody else. It was nature's God and nature's law. Why? Because they wanted to make it as broad as they could, but make sure that everyone understood it is from above that rights are endowed and they are unalienable, meaning they cannot be changed, they cannot be taken away. If God or the Creator is taken away, where do you get your rights from? If our rights come from other men, then men can take them back. This is about as fundamental of understanding of our liberty. It is essential. It is the reason I made such a big issue out of what Senator Tom Harkin said during the health care debate. Do you remember what he said? I think it was on Christmas Eve or something like that.
What this bill does is we finally take that step. As our leader said earlier, we take that step from health care as a privilege to health care as an inalienable right of every single American citizen.
Okay. Stop.
And as I've said
Stop.
before, this bill does not...
Okay, look, Congress doesn't pass rights. They cannot pass rights. They cannot create a right. They pass laws. But this is an idea, a notion that permeates our government now. The rights our founders enumerated, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, have become instead the right to health care, right to a job, the right to a certain wage they deem decent, and the only way to provide those rights is to take your rights to the things you've earned. The problem is, these new rights were the rights outlined by Karl Marx and Engels, not our founding fathers. If that is the path we're going to take as Americans now, then let's have that discussion. Let's stop pretending that we're working from the same fundamental principles, because we are not. If the president, who is a constitutional scholar, if the president doesn't understand the critical word creator in the Declaration of Independence, we're not on the same page. And it has nothing to do with faith or God or anything else. It has everything to do with man seizing power. If you don't believe that we're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, which means you cannot ever change them, you cannot take them, don't pretend that you just forgot those three crucial words. Come out and tell the American people that you do not buy into the concept of rights coming from creators. Defend your true position. That's all I've been asking for, is you to do your own homework. Question me. Look all of this up. Look it all up, please, I beg you. It does nothing if you're just repeating what I say. Look it up yourself. Know it to be true. And then go to the battlefield of ideas and argue it out and fight it out on the battlefield of ideas. Let the people decide. Under those conditions, not in the cover of darkness or not with lies or smears, our chances are very good of winning, because I trust the American people, and so did our founders. Progressives don't. Back in a minute. All right, earlier in the program, I told you about all of these groups that are standing with the president on One Nation, this big rally that's happening on Saturday. And these groups, many of them think that Marxism is a very good idea. Many of them are calling for a violent or revolution here in America. But the scary thing is that there are some of them that have been working to shape the minds of our children, and they do it in the cover of darkness. They know that they can't get the older crowd, so they have to target the youth. If they get the youth, they got it forever. Remember, communism, we think it's awful, but our kids don't, because they haven't been exposed to it. So they indoctrinate on the evils of capitalism with the things like story of stuff. That's that little stick figure thing. Well, I was tired of waiting for somebody else to do it, so I got my team together and we decided to do a little indoctrination of our own. This is available at glenbeck.com. Watch.
And now, stick figure logic, the truth about capitalism.
Ah, trickle-down economics. 3 words that strike fear in the hearts of progressives young and old, because, well, they fundamentally debunk that whole rich people are evil socialist redistribution of wealth mantra they have tattooed on their foreheads. Basically, trickle-down economics is the theory that wealth and free enterprise actually benefit everybody in the country, not just fat cats, aka the rich.
Yeah.
Calvin Coolidge got it, and so did Ronald Reagan.
Well.
Look it up, you'll see. Here's what I'm talking about.
Take Bill Gates of Microsoft fame as our example, because he's worth at least $1 billion. Maybe 2. To the Wayback Machine, please. It's 1973, and Geeky Bill has this great idea for a business. He packs up, leaves Harvard, scraps together a few bucks, and from his garage starts the Microcomputer Software Company, later shortened to Microsoft. A wise decision. He works hard, comes up with some great ideas, and then boom! Set the space-time continuum dealie to 1986, when Microsoft, no longer operating out of Bill's garage, makes its initial public stock offering. The result? 5 lucky folks, including Bill, become billionaires with a B, and 12,000 others millionaires. Okay, back in the phone booth, kids. Sorry. We're back in 2010, and thousands of others have joined the Super Rich Club. Courtesy of Microsoft stock, and almost 90,000 folks in total draw weekly paychecks courtesy Bill's idea. So do the math. Bill makes a ton and paves the way for a whole lot of others to do the same, and many, many, many more to earn, shall we say, a better than decent living. In turn, those folks take that Microsoft cash and buy homes, cars, groceries, hire landscapers, painters, dog walkers, therapists, and clowns for their kids' birthday parties. And then those guys do the same, and so on and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. And here's the thing. As long as Microsoft continues to churn out great ideas and products you and me will keep buying, the trickle-down express will just keep on trucking. And, oh yeah, for good measure, Bill's tossed just a few bucks. Just a few bucks? 28 billion with a B, to be exact, to charity. Think about that for a second. Yeah, sounds like pure evil, doesn't it?
You can get that by signing up for Insider Extreme now at glennbeck.com for access to these cartoons and our first full-length documentary premiering tomorrow night, Behind the Scenes of 828, only at glennbeck.com on the Insider Extreme. Just when you thought sleazy attack ads couldn't sink any further into the primordial slime, we have Florida Democrat Alan Grayson. He has proven us wrong yet again. Watch his ad.
Religious fanatics try to take away our freedom in Afghanistan, in Iran, and right here in Central Florida.
Wives, submit yourself to your own husband.
Daniel Webster wants to impose his radical fundamentalism on us.
She should submit to me. That's in the Bible.
Webster tried to deny battered women medical care and the right to divorce their abusers.
He goes on to say that this is Taliban Dan. That's a pretty big charge, and if he's like, submit to me, submit to your husband. Well, let's go back to the tape and find out what Daniel Webster actually said about wives submitting to their husband from the Bible. Watch this.
Second, find a verse. I have a verse for my wife. I have verses for my wife. Don't pick the ones that say she should submit to me. That's in the Bible, but pick the ones that you're supposed to do. So instead, that you love your wife, even as Christ loved the church.
Have we really gotten to this point where a sitting U.S. congressman can tell outright lies and get away with it? Get caught doing it and still get elected? I hope not. I pray that we are better people than that, and I would be saying the same damn thing if he was a Republican and did this kind of a... Please, Central Florida, show America, lead the way, that is not who we are. Next week, it'll be 40 days and 40 nights since 8/28. I told you about the 40-day and 40-night challenge, a blueprint for national survival. I urge you to go to the website at glennbeck.com and take that challenge. If you have been doing that challenge, I want you to email your 40-day challenge stories to beckchallenge@foxnews.com. A lot of letters coming in saying, my whole world has changed. I want to hear those stories and join us in the audience to share how your life has changed in the last 40 days. That'll come up next week. Email us tonight. From New York, good night, America.